everyone, welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing well today. My name is T if you're new here. So as of late, my YouTube algorithm has been recommending episodes and segments of The Real to me. If you're unfamiliar, The Real is a daytime talk show. It's hosted by 5 women of color. We love to see it. And on there, they talk about everything from politics to celeb gossip to their viewpoints on life, etc., etc. I've kind of just been on a binge watching all of their episodes because I'm happy to admit that it's easy to watch, it's fun to watch, but with me watching, with me analyzing, paying close attention, I realized there are some serious areas of opportunity. And I cannot sit up here on Beyonce's internet and not talk about it. Like, I can't fake out like that. What's good about The Real? So much. That's why I was so particular about what I wanted to name this video. I didn't want it to be everything wrong with The Real, or everything I hate about The Real, or critiquing The Real, because it's not even that deep. There are a lot of good aspects to this show. Let's start off with the main aspect of it. The ladies, the co-hosts, amazing. They are so intelligent, all of them. They're so beautiful. I, of course, love that the cast is so diverse. They have amazing chemistry. You can tell that they're friends in real life, and if they're not, they fake it very well. The humor is good too. Sometimes it's forced, and that's annoying, but you know, for the most part, I do a little From the viewer standpoint, from left to right, we have Jeannie Mai, who is a stylist and now YouTuber and podcaster who brings a very analytical approach to the show. She's actually my favorite. Is she? She's very wise. I used to watch her YouTube channel a lot, and she has lived quite a life. She's been through quite a lot, and she's unafraid to share the lessons that she's extracted from all of the mistakes that she's made in life, and it makes for good stories. They don't do it much anymore, but she used to tell some really dope stories, and I love the way she talks. She does all these gestures. If y'all have ever noticed, like, she does all of this, like, finger pointed handgun, all of that, and she has such pretty hands. Oh my gosh, is that weird to say? Next, Amanda Seales. She is a comedian, actress, author, activist, shit talker, the saving grace of the show. I mean, if we're going to keep it a buck. But sometimes they bring up very sensitive topics, and I notice they really try to like tiptoe around it, and they try to tap dance around it. Amanda, she ain't tap dancing. Like, she recognizes that we cannot tap dance no more. The time to tap dance is over. Do you see who we have for a president? Next, we have Loni Love, who is a comedian and an actress. Loni brings just the right amount of dry humor and black sass to make the audience laugh but also appease the white man. But she's very sure of herself, and I appreciate that. Even when she's wrong, and wrong as hell, she still talks like she's right. It's important. I love to see black women doing that. Tamara Mori Housley. She is an actress. As we all know, many of us grew up on her on Sister Sister. And a traditional sweetheart. I like to say she's like a living, breathing Tampax commercial. The cool conservative Christian. You can tell that that is the role. That's why they casted her. She appeals to the more conservative audience. Miss Adrienne, girl, you wasn't fooling nobody. We all knew you was that flamingo. Houghton. And she is an actress, singer. She appeals to the younger audience, of course, because she brings that aspect of nostalgia. I grew up on the Cheetah Girls as a religion. She also played Alana on That's So Raven, which again, a religion. So on to the critique. Tangents. Why is it so difficult to stay on topic? Here's how their girl chat works. One of them shares a brief story about something that's going on in the news or in the media, and then out of that they derive a topic or a question, and then they ask for everyone's opinions on it. Everyone on that panel is different and comes from different walks of life, so I'm not expecting all of their answers to be the same. However, I am expecting the format to be, when you ask a question, yes, and here's why, or no, and here's why. But instead of doing that, they oftentimes veer off course and they start talking about things adjacent to the topic rather than actually addressing the topic or answering the question at hand. So for example, one time they were discussing some interview that Mike Tyson did. I think it was a podcast actually. The question was, do you think Mike Tyson is justified in saying, oh, my kids don't date black people because I didn't set an example of what a good black man looks like? That is the question. Why are you telling me that you grew up in a household that celebrated multiracial dating? Why are you telling me about your multiracial dating history? Like, good, and I'm happy for you, but you told me that already. Like, I get it. Her boyfriend is black and her boyfriend is white and her husband is white and her husband is mixed and Amanda keeps her life private. I know. You tell me all the time. But that wasn't the question. That wasn't the topic at hand, you see? And this is just one example. They do this shit all the time. Like when they do stuff like that, it just makes them seem very unorganized and a little ditzy. Another thing. Too much clapping. And I know that there's probably one of those people who stand in front of the audience and say, now you clap, now you go, now you say, aw. But it's too much. It's too much. Like, this is supposed to be the real, right? They always say, this is the real, so we keep it real. So let the audience have real reactions, okay? Everyone's opinion is valuable, but not everyone's opinion deserves a thunderclap. Another thing I noticed, that guest host thing was a mess. Do you guys remember, if you watch the show, in the weeks leading up to Amanda being permanently added to the cast, they were like going through all these different guest stars. I really want to know, like, which Fox executive was lighting a fire under their ass saying, we need another co-host, because what was that? We saw everything from politicians to Instagram celebrities to reality TV stars. Honestly, they just really need to be more selective and more bougie about who they invite as a guest host on that show. I remember one time they invited Jess Hilarious on there. Wasn't she just receiving backlash like a couple weeks before that for being a xenophobe? This is a national talk show. Like, people all over the country watch this stuff on their TVs, and then you guys upload segments on YouTube, which makes it worldwide. I shouldn't have to explain to you why it's not okay and irresponsible, rather, to have a guest host who was just very recently under fire for discriminating against a religious group. I really just shouldn't have to expand any further on that, so just sit with that one. And really, just the last thing I have here, because I don't want to go on forever and ever and ever, they bite off more than they can chew. Very, very often. So this show is aired on Fox, and this show is on Fox. That's why certain things can't be said, or else you'll end up like Tamar. You know what? Allegedly. Let me make sure to say allegedly, because I don't want to receive like a defamation notice in the mail. I want to talk about that very quickly. The whole Tamar situation, very tacky. Very, very tacky. I'm talking about everything from her being fired to them going on the Breakfast Club to talk about it, to Tamar talking about it on Wendy, to Lonnie bringing it back up. And that was such a mess. That was so tacky. And I think, I mean, of course, my theory, like many other people's theories, I think Tamar got fired simply because she was too much. And this show is on Fox. This is supposed to be a platform for women of color to be outspoken and express themselves. It's tokenism, if y'all couldn't tell. So yeah, that was my prediction. That's my Tamar conspiracy for why she was fired. And then they brought on Amanda, who was outspoken as well, just like Tamar. The only difference is she knows how to act in mixed company, and white people love that. They eat it right the fuck up. But more than anything, when that happened, there was a whole lot of he said, she said, I don't know why you got fired, neither do I, well, it's your fault, no, it's not. And my thing is, somebody knew. Somebody knew. Somebody over there knows, whether it's one of the co-hosts or it's one of the producers, one of the executives, somebody knows, and you have these ladies going back and forth for what, 3 years now, 4 years now? Hang it up. Like, I don't, you guys are talk show hosts. This is not the fucking shade room. Back to biting off more than they can chew. So I feel like they would receive way more flack for ignoring sensitive topics than they do for speaking from a misinformed standpoint about sensitive topics. But they just really need to change the formula, right? Because like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, all that tap dancing, it's exhausting. You cannot get on Barack Obama's internet. I know I always call it Beyonce's internet, but you can't get on Barack Obama's internet and be irresponsible and misinformed when you're talking about things like race and racism and classism, and you just can't do it. In a recent video, they were talking about this man who told another man at a parent-teacher conference to go back to Mexico. And then Tamara gonna say, oh, well, it's important that we correct ignorance with kindness. Tap dancing. And I'm so happy Amanda was there, because if Amanda wasn't there, the audience would have been like some dummies. But that's not what we need. Amanda was so justified when she was saying, no, y'all, no. People already know what bigotry is, okay? So I don't need to spoon feed them why it's wrong and why that hurts my feelings. Another time they were talking about if men working hard is an excuse to be unfaithful. And that was all in context with Joe Budden's comment about Kevin Hart's comment that he made on his Netflix special. Anyway, it led to Lonnie saying that black men cheat because of... I made a video on that, by the way. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. But another time, they start talking about T.I. You remember that whole situation when he was saying he takes his daughter to the to check her hymen? And then Jeannie gonna say that that is justified because she was promiscuous as a young girl and used to sneak her boyfriend in through the window. Listen, they could have found a psychologist that morning who would have been ready and willing to sit on that panel and just explain simply how harmful it is for a father to try and take away his daughter's agency over her own body just to satisfy his own ego. Any psychologist would have been willing, right? If they would have just did a simple Google search and found it. Another simple Google search could have told you how harmful it is to tell people to go back to their country. How harmful xenophobia is. The fact that xenophobia is so strong, that's why we have a Cheeto as a president. Another Google search could have told Lonnie that no, black men do not cheat because of slavery, but yes, systemic oppression that is rooted in slavery have made it more and more difficult for black men to adhere to the traditional nuclear family dynamic. And I know a Google search could have did it, because a Google search is how I did my video. Again, go watch it. It took a long time to make. I'm Gen Z, not really a millennial, but I'm like the older half of Gen Z. Let me speak for my generation when I say these motherfuckers don't like to read. They don't. They would prefer to gain their knowledge through things that they consume in the media and on TV and on the internet. So with that being said, especially in such a sensitive time in society and all of that, you gotta be more responsible. So like, do it right and do it with information and with research, or just don't do it at all. That's about all that I have. I didn't want to go in because like I said, overall it's still a good show. Those are just the areas of opportunity that I would like to see fixed. I like to think that I have the mind of a mastermind, and I think that if those things could be fixed, it could go from like the cutesy show that it is to still cutesy but iconic and groundbreaking, you know, because I know that's what they want to be. I know that's what they want to be, and you could do that. You just gotta like do better and listen to me, because I know what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you made it to the end. Be sure to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, however you're feeling today, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.